Well, Ann Coulter is the best-selling author. You should read. If you haven't read her latest book, it's excellent. But if you can go back to all those other books, people are looking for stuff to read during all of this. You can go to AnnCoulter.com. You can get the new column, the books. Follow her on Twitter, AnnCoulter.com. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you, Mark Simone?
I'm good. As you walk around New York City, what do you think? Is it getting better? Is it looking better? Is it coming back?
As you know, I still think that New York will come back, but oh my gosh, not yet. Especially Midtown, West Side. Did you see your favorite mayor, Comrade de Blasio, was finally going to move all the homeless people out of the fancy hotels on the Upper West Side. I emailed my friends on the Upper West Side, foreign territory for for conservatives, and said, "Oh, good news for you." And they all said, "It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen." Well, today he announced, nope, he decided not to move the homeless out of the fancy hotels on the Upper West Side. So it will continue to be a total dystopia.
Ann Coulter, you've written books about this. You understand the liberal mind, the mentality, and a guy like de Blasio, his whole point of running is, I'll help the homeless, I'll take care of the homeless, I'll do. And under him, they're worse. They're just left out on the street. What is their thinking? What don't they look at this and say, they're in worse shape now than when I got here?
Yes, and I'm glad you say that. I was thinking about that. I mean, it's like seeing a spoiled child, who's jumping up and down on your foot on an airplane. Your instinct is to be angry at the child, but of course it's the parent's fault. And it's the same way with the homeless. My heart really goes out to them. They're mostly mentally ill, and it's horrible to have them living out on the street and going through garbage cans to get their food or harassing people. It's sad. It's horrible. They ought to be taken care of in nice, warm, safe shelters or homeless, places for the homeless, designed for them. But no, for liberals like de Blasio, it's all about their own status, how they feel about themselves. Oh, they're good people. They will throw them out on the street. There was one famous incident. Your younger listeners will not remember. Remember Billy Boggs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She used to like Bill Boggs on television. So.
Right. That was, apparently there was a local newscaster, a man named Billy Boggs, and there was some poor crazy homeless woman who called herself Billy Boggs. She'd smoke crack on the street. This was, I don't know, near the TV station, I think, but out on the sidewalk, chase pedestrians, run out into traffic. Her own family was begging the city, Koch and Dinkins, please get her off the street. She's going to hurt somebody else, and she's going to hurt herself. She's running into traffic. And of course, no Democratic mayor would do anything about it. Eventually, the blessed Giuliani came in and did something actually helpful and useful for the homeless, got poor Billy Boggs off the street. But at the time, the New York version of the ACLU, the president said, "Why, Billy Boggs is as sane as any member of our board." Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So de Blasio goes to the homeless shelters and he said, "This is unlivable. There's rodents and there's crime. I can't have them living here." And he leaves. Now, if that were Rudy Giuliani, he'd come back the next day with 20 exterminators and 100 cops and clean it up.
Yeah.
What's the liberal mentality that they don't think to do this?
Yes, and similarly, yes, a lot of homeless shelters are dangerous if you move the criminal homeless in with the merely mentally ill homeless. That's why you need to take the criminals out, a policy that also should be followed in the public schools. You take out they're 5%, 10%, whatever it is, 3% of utterly disruptive criminals that make it impossible for kids to learn, and you remove them from the school. But you're right, the liberal mentality is, no, that would be unfair. The left always has to bow down and accommodate the most antisocial elements, ruining whatever it is, the school, the homeless shelter, the city for everyone else. not so much the rich. They get to feel good about themselves, too, because they'll have their fancy doormen and fancy neighborhoods, although de Blasio is definitely making a run at them. But by and large, the people who are hurt are the ones who most need help and need the government to be providing safety.
Well, explain to me Andrew Cuomo, who thinks he's a genius and he's writing a book about what a good job he's doing. When he sees the largest crime surge ever in New York City, when he sees it's homeless and junkies all over the street, this city is half the residents of his state. How come he doesn't think, you know what, I better get down there and start doing something? I better step in.
Yes, like my friend Mark Simone has suggested, remove de Blasio. Or back on that campaign, I mean, I really don't think anything is going to change or get better until de Blasio's gone. And I renew my demand that your friend and my friend Ray Kelly run for mayor next year. A law and order mayor would totally win right now. I don't care what the New York Times says. I don't care what the precious liberals say. They might denounce him in public, and they're going to go into the voting booth and vote for Mr. Law and Order. They are neighborhoods that are being overrun, making New York City unlivable.
So I'm looking at California, and they get so upset about these fires. Oh, there's nothing worse than the fire. Meantime, their people are setting fires in every city. They're burning every building. Flames are shooting out everywhere. And to them, those are great fires. Why don't they get just as mad at that?
No, it is interesting. I mean, we've been watching 2 months now of, especially if you watch the videos out of Portland, a big thing Antifa does. They a lot of fire bugs. They love setting stuff on fire. They set, Columbus statues on fire and police stations on fire and homeless people on fire. They've done all of this. I've sent out the videos. Not only, Portland, Seattle, wherever Antifa is, it attracts the mentally ill, the transvestites, and the fire starters. Suddenly these wildfires start. Now, in California, it was bad forest management. You can attribute a lot of this to. They haven't been doing the low burns of the brush fire. But we're at least used to seeing fires in California, so your antenna don't immediately go up, although these fires are pretty ferocious. Oregon, not so much. So it has been interesting to see the entire establishment media, I mean, within the first day of the fires, leaping out with explainers. These were not set by Antifa. Wait a minute. How do you know? And now, actually, there have been several arrests. I don't know what percentage of the fires they're responsible for, or if anyone knows yet. But there have been arrests for arsons by these crazy Antifa out in Oregon and elsewhere.
So, listen, a lot of people have emailed me, and a lot of people asked me to ask you, is there another book coming? Are you working on a new book?
Not exactly. I'm mulling a new project.
Are you waiting for after the election to see what happens?
No. I've said what I have to say for the Trump era. My last book, Resistance is Futile, really says everything you're going to need for either the 4 or 8 years of President Trump. It explains everything, literally everything. There's nothing more to say. So as long as Trump is in office. The other thing, I was talking to the editors of Breitbart about this. It's hard to write the kind of book I write, which is to take something that's sort of topical and then do a total historical review, like Demonic on mobs and groupthink and the French Revolution.
Oh, that's a good book.
That's a good one, and very appropriate now. But the news cycle is so short. It's, a hair on fire story, this day, and then a completely different hair on fire story the next day. I've really pretty much said it all, and it's hard to have more of a thoughtful, investigative piece when the news is changing so much.
Yeah, boy, you're right. That news cycle, you're just gone. Ask Mary Trump. Anybody remember her? Bob Woodward, you got 2 days left. So, hey, if you haven't read it, go back and get, that's a good book, Ann Coulter's book, Demonic. Order that. It's a great book, and you'll understand these mobs and this stuff. And just go to AnnCoulter.com. You can get all the books, the column, a lot of great video and stuff there. AnnCoulter.com. And make sure you follow her on Twitter. Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.